Good morning. Right, this is, I'm just going to do a short, quick lesson here on, I've got quite a few inquiries about doing it's a mixture of mandalas and tangles and sort of doodles. So I'm going to start off today and I'm just going to show you a few of the easy mandala shapes that we can put into a mandala pattern, which is usually a circular pattern, but you can develop all different types. I am going to be doing one shortly, which will be a snowflake, and it's going to have lots of different mandala shapes in it. But for now, I'm just going to go through some of the materials and also some easy mandala shapes, as you can see here. I have what we call a practice book. So I have a book here that obviously, as you can see, has got square pages in it with squares on, which makes it easier to practice. And by practicing these shapes, you gain what we call muscle memory. So it becomes easier for you to do them. Plus, like if I come across some sort of hit like this here, that was my basic shape. Then I thought about this and then this shape, and by adding them together, I come up with a pattern. So I keep it, and by keeping this record, I can use this when I come to do different mandalas. And also I use it for jotting things in, like things that are like botanical shapes, petals, things like that. And during life itself, I have another sketchbook where I can just do quick sketches and I can turn them into some sort of mandala pattern. Okay, so initially the equipment, what I use is, I have a ruler occasionally, what I use for doing, mostly for border patterns. So I just have a normal little ruler. I have a plastic eraser. This one's a bit dirty, wants cleaning up. I have a brush, sometimes if I'm using pencil to move some of the dust away. Now, I do have a H pencil here. And what I tend to do is, like these few here, what I've set out to do this morning, I've set them out in pencil initially. And if you want to, you can do this and then practice them in pencil until you're comfortable and then go into a permanent pen. But I tend to just do them with pen. But occasionally, if I'm developing a complicated one, then I do use the pencil first. So having a H pencil is a good idea. For the actual mandalas, which we're not doing today, but for making the mandalas, as I say, a ruler, a protractor and a compass kit is what you need to make some of the circular ones. But we can also use triangles. You can use different shape things just to create different patterns, but that's the basic equipment, which is a compass and a protractor. So pen-wise, I have a wide selection, but what you do need, the most important thing you need to know is that the pens are, so I've got a Unipin one here, and if you look at it, it's water and fade proof, and it's pigmented ink. So that means that once it's on, it's permanent, and it won't. So if we do one and we want to put some watercolour over the top, which we will do later on, then by putting the ink on, when you put the watercolour paint on, it isn't going to move the ink. You can do it either way. You can put the ink on, then the watercolour, or you could do the watercolour and then the ink. It's entirely up to you, but whichever way. These are the sort of pens you need. Now, be careful because some pens aren't actually water and fade proof. So just check them carefully. Now, Unipin, they do these in black. You can get them in all the different sizes, ranging from 0.003 up to 0.8 in black. But you can also get them in, like this one here is a blue one. There's also, let's have a look here, we've got the blue, we've got the red, obviously black, and then we've now got, this is a very dark grey, or it's classed as dark grey, dark grey, and then we've got this one, which is sepia. So this is a nice one if you're doing a wash and pen picture, wash and pen painting. And then we have the light grey as well. So you've got, you know, a few colour choices there as well, so you don't have to stick to just black. I do sometimes occasionally use these gold and silver pens as well, and I also have a set of very fine Posca pens that are metallic, just for doing some mandalas that I like in colour. Now, the other pens that I use are, as I say, we've got, there is another set that's quite good, and that's these ones, which are the Stedler. And these are very good and these range from the 0.05 right down to the 0.8. And there's 4 plus there's 2 free in this set. But you can buy them in bigger sets as well. So we've got that set. The other ones that I use, which are a little bit more expensive, these are my favourite, obviously, and that's the Copic multiliner. And these again range in all sizes, the usual sizes, 0.03, 0.05. And I have a full set of those, and I've got the black ones. You can get those in colour. And then the other ones that I've got as well is the Edding 1800, which is the Profi pen. And this I've got them in 0.1 and 0.5. And these again are light fast, they're pigmented ink. They're used a lot by architects and things like that, so they are very good quality pens. So you've got a very wide selection of pens there, but as I said, the main thing to look for is that they are permanent and waterproof. Okay. And then you can buy a booklet that you can stick into a file that's ruled, squared, or this one is actually, this is a book that I just bought from the stationeries, and it's a small A5 book, so it fits in my bag, and it's just got squares in it, so I use it just purely for putting the patterns in. I do also use sketchbooks, like I say, for ideas. If I'm doing a botanical mandala, then I will look for things in nature, and I'll do little quick sketches and then find a way to turn them into some sort of mandala pattern. But for today, we're going to start off with some basic ones. So they do have basic shapes, which are usually the arch, or a circle, or a square, or a triangle, etc., etc. So I'm just going to go through these small ones with you to start with, just to give you a little bit of practice. Now, I've laid them out here in pencil, so you can see them in pencil. And then I'm going to show you them in ink. Now, normally this one here, I've done it over 2 squares. So if you look, it's 2 squares that way and 2 squares up. But normally that would be done in a 1 square, which I'll show you at the end when I come here. Okay, so I'm going to use my Copic marker. Okay, I've got the 0.05. So I've got a very fine, if you look, it's a very, very, very fine tip. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because I've done it over 2 squares to make it that little bit easier for you. So so all of these are freehand. I'm not going to use the ruler. So I am drawing from the bottom here up to the middle there. So that's one line. Then I come back down to this corner here, then across the bottom. Okay. Then for the pattern itself, it's just a simple. So just take your time, and they don't have to be absolutely perfectly level and straight, but obviously get them as best you can. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Okay, so that's it in pencil, that's it in pen. And the more you practice that, the easier it gets. Now, you might find it easier if you've got it on if you've just got it on a loose piece of paper, by moving your paper around and getting the angle right for your hand. Whatever you're doing, don't sort of screw your hand up, because that's when your patterns don't look that neat. Okay, so that, you know, I mean, you could do it sort of so I could come down from that line to there, then I could turn it round and do it down to there. then back and turn it round that way and do it. Pull that line down there. So that way I've not screwed my end up in any way, and then just come back round. Okay, back to square one, and then literally just put in the lines like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you start putting this pattern into a mandala, what you must remember, though, if you can, is that if you put 5 lines in your first triangle, you must, because it's a repetitive pattern that you're doing in a circular pattern, in a circular design, then you need to put the same number of lines in every one, okay, to make it look right. Now, you could vary that pattern, so let's have a look at what variations we could do. So, let me see. So, if I come up there, back down there, and then across there, okay. And then again, if I go up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn this round a bit, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way it's a variation on this pattern. So you've changed the pattern from that to that. And this is how patterns design, how you can develop the designs on your patterns. I mean, you could even then, if you want, put a little dot where all of these lines cross. Just with your pen, just a nice little tiny dot. Like that. Okay. And then again, you've got a different pattern altogether. There. Okay. So as I said, this originally, if I was doing it, I actually did it as a 1 square. So what I would do is I would look for the centre of the top of this square and draw the line to there, and then back down again, and then across. Okay. Then lift my pen as vertical as I can get it so that I can get all these lines in. Like that. So that's the size I can go down. So you can vary the size. And using the squares helps you, as I say, it helps you develop your patterns. It helps you get the muscle memory to do the patterns and repeating them. So that when you come to do it in a mandala in a pattern, as you're going along, you will change this. This might only be part of a larger pattern. But you won't have the squares there so much to help you. But believe me, it's so gratifying. At the moment, I'm going through quite a lot of health issues. And I'm normally doing a lot of watercolour painting. And at the moment, I am struggling. I'm suffering with severe arthritis. I'm waiting for a knee replacement. So I'm sort of on very strong drugs. And in pain all the time, so I'm finding it quite hard. But art is also good for when you're ill as well. And at the moment, I'm finding that at least I can keep my passion for art going, but doing something that is actually taking my mind away from the pain for a short while. And that is by doing something like this, because you're concentrating and doing repeat patterns. Some people might say, well, that sounds boring. And to some people, it may be boring. But a lot of people that I've taught this to do find that it's actually quite addictive, and it does take your mind away from whatever problems you've got of the day, whether it doesn't have to be health issues. It could be just stresses of the day or the cost of living that everybody is suffering at the moment. And because you only need minimal materials, such as pencils and pens, and once you've got them and some paper, then you can do this. And it just takes you away from things. And it is very good, as I call art therapy. It's very good for the mind. Okay, so we've done that one. So this next one, again, I did it over 2 triangles, but I'll show you at a smaller triangle at the end. So this one again, so we've got the start of the original base, so we're going to go up to there. If you want to use a ruler for this, then by all means use one. It's just my preference to use it freehand because it gets me used to, as I say, the muscle memory of drawing the shape. Okay, so I'll fetch the line up there. Okay. Okay, and then this one, in the centre, on the centre line there, I'm going to draw a circle, not too big, and then just colour that circle in. Then just a little bit further up, I'm going to do another circle, but not quite as big. And then right here, I'm going to do a tiny circle. So try and space them out equally and colour some of them in. Because the other thing with mandalas, to make them look right, we need quite a lot of the contrast. So you need where we've got no shape filled in there, as same there, we've got nothing filled in, to add in some contrast, and that is by adding some colour. So for instance, on this one above, what we could do is we could, if we wanted, use a broader pen though. I'm just using the same one I've just drawn it with. I would normally use a broader pen. And you could actually put some contrast in there and do some colouring, so you've got some stripy lines that way. So again, we've changed that pattern again. So you can see how you know, extensive it is, that you can use it and change it in different ways. Okay, so we'll do another one of these. So up to the centre, down to this corner edge, cross with the straight line. Whoops, that one's not gone very straight. Again, that's because I didn't turn my paper, so that's my fault. Circle 1, circle 2, and circle 3. Okay. Again, so this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm going to actually turn my book round so you can see there in that corner. So I'm going to do my 2 lines there, then I can turn it back, makes it a little bit easier. There we go. And then up to that line, back down there. And there. Okay. So now I want to show it you in just one square. Okay. So I'm going to go up to the middle of there again, just like we did on that one there. Okay, and then back down there, across there. 1, 2, 3, like that. So you can see how tiny that one is there. Okay. Right, the next shape's something just a little bit different. I don't know, it was just something that came into my head. I was writing something this morning, and see, I like calligraphy as well. So I like letters, and I like, you know, curves as well. So this one it reminds me of an R, but so again I've done it over the two shapes. So to start this one, it's like this one is done with one flow of the pen. Okay, so I'm going to start to come up there, and then as I get to this point up at the top, do my circle so it fills that second part of that circle there, comes round to that centre square there, and then back down to there. So you can see we've got 4 squares there. So the points that I'm mainly interested in are that one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so if you aim for those sort of points. Okay, so come up. So also if you think about it, we're just moving away just at that point there. Okay, so as you come to that point, move away, aim for that point there, come back round there, into there, up to that point, and then back round down to there, like that. Okay? And that's that one. It's quite simple. So you could use your other letters. So you can include words and expressions, you know, in your pictures or in your mandalas. Because like I say, we're going to use this for all different things. So like pictures, mandalas, You know, they're useful for quite a lot of things. You've probably seen quite a few of mine posted on the page. I mean, this is a design that I actually came up with last night. So I sat and developed that design, and it is actually posted on my Facebook. And you can see all the stages going backwards. So that's basic. What I did, I basically, once I'd got it, I laid the dots out so I know exactly where I'm going. So that's the first stage, the second, third, fourth. So these are more complicated and a lot bigger, but you can progress onto them fairly quickly. And then, like I say, you can use them in, so this is a mandala. This is a round mandala, and it's a basic one. This is one a lady's been coming to me, and this was done on her second week, and she actually did one like this, the same as this, on the second week. And if you go into it, you can see that they are just these repetitive patterns. And there were pencil lines because obviously we have to draw out the circle, and we're using lines in the compass. And then once you finish the design, you can actually rub out your lines. Okay, so that was done on the second week. And then you can do things like this as well. So it doesn't have to be things like circles. This was a paint pot that I did. I used some metallic colour. If you look, what I've done is I've just sectioned this off by using a pen and just sort of thinking about string. So you'd lay a piece of string on something, just lay it off. So you've got different portions, and in each portion you can put a design. And then there's the lid, and then obviously I did the pencils and the paintbrushes. And then I decided to add colour later, and I added some of these are actually the Posca metallic pens. But you can see again, it's just simple designs. And it's trying to get a contrast where we've got some dark patches as well as some light, so we can create it so that it looks like a nice piece of artwork. Okay? So, the design, you just actually draw the basic design, which I will show you later where we can get some designs from, or